What's up, everybody? Welcome to the High Level Husband Podcast. I'm Tommy McCallister, joined by my beautiful wife, Diane.
Hey.
So anyways, guys, we're jumping into today why it's important for both spouses to initiate intimacy. And so this one is, it's always, I mean, we've always just seen in our own life from so many clients' lives, but especially just from just being this is the industry that we're in, such a huge thing is that most typically it's one spouse or the other that initiates. Rarely is it both who do it, right? And so I'm going to share a quick story, guys, about how it was for us years ago. About 10 years ago, we had a decent sex life. Diane was always
down
available for it for the most part.
Yeah.
It was if it was like, it wasn't necessarily spontaneous, it would be like, we'll have it tonight.
Yeah.
And then you would typically come through on the promise. It's just so weird to think about marriages that way. Well, to come through on your promise, like, man, like that's when you know marriage is bad, when it's like, come through on your promise later in the day. It's like when it becomes transactional things. Like it's so terrible.
Right. Yeah.
But anyways, so we had consistent intimacy at the time, but I broached a topic to Diane. I said, babe, I said, it'd be really nice if you initiated intimacy every now and then. And she said, well, that's kind of your thing.
Right.
And I said, yeah, but how would you feel if I never initiated ever again?
Yeah. And that was like a shocker to me. I hadn't even ever thought about it like that. I never even considered the opposite of what that would be like, how you would feel about that, how terrible that would feel, how undesirable you'd feel. Never even crossed my mind.
Right. And that's when I posed the question, well, now you know how I feel. And I didn't do it from a jerk way or anything like that, guys. And that's what I want you to know is that's where typically most couples go wrong, is that these conversations are had during arguments, disagreements, times of distances, times of unconnection, and all of that. And the words, the tone, and the body language that is used is presented in a wrong way. And it will always do one of two things. A conversation will either draw you together or it'll push you away. It will never be just like the middle ground. And so it is so important the way you approach that. Get that, all the praise be to God, because at that time that conversation was over my pay grade. For some reason he had me bring it up, which I know he was just setting the stage for us later on to be coaches and everything like that, because guys, believe me, I had zero interest in doing this. It's what God brought us to, and we were obedient. And so at that time you started putting a little more effort into it, and it really did help, because had you never, I told you in a loving way what I'm a desire and you didn't do it, it hurts on the other side.
Yeah.
Men want to feel desired. Men want to feel respected. Men want to feel pursued. Same thing on the other side. It can't be just a one-way street.
Yeah.
Now, guys, I will tell you this, and this is for women who listen to this and their husbands aren't doing it. You always lead by that example, and you don't pull back to be like, well, if they're not doing it, I'm not doing it. If they don't give me respect, I'm not giving them respect. If they're not initiating, I'm not going to initiate. You know how many guys I've talked to and they're like, well, so what I've just decided is that, you know what, she's not always down for intimacy, so I'm just not going to even give it to her or even ask her. I'm just going to go without it and just let her see how that feels. It's like, one, that's super immature, and two, that is not solving the problem. It's making it worse. Why? Because of what goes on between our ears. She then now thinks, chances are she's not initiating. As it was for you, you had low self-worth, low self-confidence, low self-love. You saw yourself that you needed to lose weight. You didn't recognize your abilities and talents. Your life was lukewarm faith at that time. You had traumas in your life you were overcoming, all of these things. Well, so that's why you were not initiating. We all think you're not initiating because of one main thing. You're just not interested in me.
Right.
One, again, getting to assumptions. But if we pull back at that time, because of where most women are at, which is where you were at that time, I will tell you guys, that's about 90% of women.
Yep.
They think to themselves, okay, now he's not even, I'm not the one initiating because it's so uncomfortable for me to do it because I don't even love myself and I feel so uncomfortable doing it. Now he's not doing it. Is he seeing some other woman? Is he masturbating more? Is he watching porn? Is he not interested in me? Now it's just taking her self-worth and shoving it in the ground. And then it comes out as venom towards you or more distance towards you guys. You can not let it get to that spot by being childish and stopping initiating. You know what fixes it? Loving conversations, masculine leadership, pursuing her and still, even when she's not pursuing you, talking to her about the things that you're growing through so she can start growing through them, and doing all of these steps that we teach in the BMR method. But with that being said, that's why it was so important to bring it up in that because those was exactly how you were feeling.
Yeah. And I will say too, probably one of the bigger things I probably would have thought had you stopped initiating, I probably would have thought, oh, well, all the things I think about myself, they must be true because he stopped initiating. So he must think those things about me too.
He's not interested in me.
Yeah.
He's more attracted to the girls at the gym because
Right.
you weren't going to the gym. I
Mm-mm.
was going to the gym.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
He's more attracted to them. You
Mm-hmm.
know what? You see me with the coworkers at that time.
Right.
Oh my gosh, she's a beautiful girl. He spends more time with her. He actually brought her up in a conversation the other day when he was talking about him and Art hanging out, and this girl was there. Oh my God, is he
Mm-hmm.
cheating on her with me?
Yeah.
Does he find her more attractive? She's way more attractive than me. She's younger than me. She's got bigger boobs than me. Her butt's nicer than mine. Like literally, that's the
A
thoughts.
million thoughts going through the head like that. Yeah. 100%.
Why is he going to Art's birthday party? Did he didn't invite me to Art's birthday party? He says only guys are going to be there. Are the girls going to be there? Is this a work party? Maybe I don't want to go to the work party. I can't go to the work party, but should I get off to go to the work party because she's going to be there? It's like these things, and it's all assumptions that aren't even true because I'm just being childish and pulling back on the initiation.
Yeah.
So just having a loving conversation. Well, everything we want in life is on the other side of pain.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely does a marriage have it where just both just are initiating. And it doesn't need to be 1 for 1, 2 for 2.
Right.
Sometimes we go through stretches where it's like, man, Diane initiated 5 times in a row. And then it goes back over here. And then I only did it twice. And then she did it 4 times. And then all of a sudden I did it 8 times and
Mm-hmm.
she did it once. It's
Yeah.
like, but it's still
We're still
there.
pinging back and forth. We're both still initiating. It's not like one person is completely just the leader in it.
And it's not always about the initiation of just sex. It's the
Yeah.
initiation of physical touch throughout the day.
Physical
It's the
touch.
initiation of flirting.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say, flirting. I think it's one of the biggest things that people overlook.
It really is, because you can't go from no emotional intimacy and no physical
Mhm.
flirting
Yeah.
and then expecting to both just be always initiating.
Mhm.
That sex is just the last thing that it leads to, which is why God is a God of order. And if you're not married and you're having sex and your relationship struggling, or I'm telling you right now, it will struggle later on because you're doing things out of God's order. The reason why is he wants you to solidify your faith, your love for him, your love for others. He wants you to creating disciples. He wants to be using your unique talents and abilities. He wants your communication, your vulnerability, all of that, your vision, all solidified before you start hammering it out.
Right.
But most people go to, dang girl, this girl's hot. Okay, we've been dating for 2 weeks. Next thing you know, we're out getting drinks, which you shouldn't be doing because that leads to bad choices. Next thing you know, you're smashing. And then you're like, this is having great. We're still having fun. We're still doing those other things as well. Well, no, you're not really, because your faith life is actually really low if you're doing that. And then 2, now you've built your relationship. You've moved intimacy from the final, I don't want to say goal, but kind of aspect to being like at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then now it depends on that. And you didn't even set the foundation of what actually leads to it. Because after a while, I've seen you naked a bazillion times. You've seen me a bazillion times. We've had sex a million times. And after a while, that will get boring unless you have vulnerability, connection, love, deep faith, equally yoked, taking territory together, same vision, pulling in the same direction. Without all of that, guess what? Sex becomes boring. And then you start looking for other people. You need validation from other people, or you're wondering why your wife's not respecting you. But when you get that last, you get it perfect where it's supposed to be, it all leads to that. That's the culmination and expression of love in certain things, rather than the thing that you're using to start the love. And so then you can get neglecting on all that stuff, because if sex just comes easy in the beginning, you're going to really avoid the vulnerable, the fun. You're going to stop pursuing and do that because you're still having the thing that you think you want. And then you're going to spend more time with friends. You're going to be at work, working more 2 times. The wife's going to spend more time with the kids. And guess what? You're missing all the things that actually make for a great marriage. And then when the sex goes away, guess what? You just took a pile of gas and threw a match on it because nothing else was in order or in place. So guys, I could end the podcast right there, because that's what it's really all about. But both spouses need to initiate for multiple reasons. Number 1, it shows desire. I want to be desired
So do I.
by you, and you want to be desired by me. It shows that I'm attracted to you and that you matter to me. Right?
Yeah.
Number 2, it prevents emotional distance. When you are initiating physical and emotional intimacy, both, it prevents distance.
Yeah.
I just shared this with somebody on one of our clients on a voice message just a minute ago. And this just happened in our life. Monday, we do a group call for our clients, and Diane at the end put her head on my shoulder and started crying. 2 weeks leading into that, I was out of town for 5 days. I normally 99.9999% of the time travel with Diane,
Right.
so we don't have that break.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I then was gone for 5 days, came home and was sick for 10,
Like really sick too, not,
super sick.
yeah.
So I slept in a different room because I didn't want her to get it. I didn't want to be like coughing and keeping
Mm-hmm.
her up all night. That means that the physical touches throughout the day weren't there. You know, now I'm feeling like death.
Our connection was missing, you know, that
Yeah.
connection of closeness because we weren't having vulnerable conversations as much.
We would still go on our nightly walk, but still
Right.
I'm not
It's
feeling good.
different
So
still.
my vibrant self isn't there,
Yeah.
my funny self, my
Yeah.
flirtatious self, all these other things, the driven self that you're attracted to
Mm-hmm.
isn't there
Right.
because I'm sickness. And so at the end of it, now it's been a little over 2 weeks since we've had sex,
Mm-hmm.
since we've flirted with each other, things like that because of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to feel it, and I know you did too,
Yeah.
was that the connection was starting to feel off. And
It was distant.
that's weird for us because we
Mm-hmm.
are typically at the like 10 out of 10 killing it game.
Yeah.
And that was like a perfect storm. Trip plus sickness, boom. And it was like, whoa, what's happening?
The devil had it out for us. He's like, oh, well, they're weak. I'm going to get them.
Right. We noticed it.
Yeah.
We immediately fixed it.
Yes.
Now we're using it for good, for the
Mm-hmm.
saving of many lives. Is, guys, when you do not keep the initiation on emotional intimacy, physical intimacy, like actual sex, but plus the physical touches, both of you. Now, if one's not doing it, you have to, like I said, you still have to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have the actual loving conversation like I had years ago, loving and consistently, and the way you present it, big things just change what happen. You present it the wrong way, bad things happen. So it keeps from emotional distance happening from you guys. It keeps the passion alive.
Mm-hmm.
It really truly does keep the passion alive when both are initiating, because I'm going to initiate different than Diane initiates. Diane initiates very differently than I do.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just it keeps it sparks. So that means we're probably going to be in a different location, maybe different positions, wearing different things, oftentimes like that. TMI, whatever. Diane likes to put on something nice and sexy for me and wait for me, or put notes
put the
somewhere.
lights down, you know, mood lights, you know.
Totally.
Yeah.
That wouldn't happen if it was always me initiating, because I would go to initiate and maybe you would have your pajamas on or something else, and it wouldn't be that, which is still great. But it's nice to be like, whoa, walk out and have your wife in some lingerie or something, be like, yo, what's up? That's great. It's a nice mix up. It keeps the spark alive.
Yeah.
But we always don't just do the same things. We'll mix up like different locations and in the house and things like that. And we're flirting with each other, how we're doing it. It keeps the spark alive. You got to keep adding to a fire to keep a fire growing. You don't just stoke it one time and then wonder why it went out years later.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the number. That's that. Guys, when you're initiating, and women, be bold and confident.
Mm-hmm.
This is what drives me nuts, is like, I just know certain guys, because we've worked with so many men now. They're like docile, shy, unvulnerable self.
Mm-hmm.
Like their initiation, is like the rub of the arm or like something lame. Those are fine from time to time. Women want what?
A strong, confident man.
So initiate strong and confident.
Yeah.
But if you're like, hey, babe, like, remember earlier when like you want to go to the bedroom because like you said you would earlier? It's like, dude, that's not attractive. But if you come up behind your wife and you're hugging her and then you're whispering something in her ear, or you grab her and give her a passionate kiss, or you're walking around and you like, you don't need sex, dude, it becomes like, who is this dude?
Yeah.
She wants this confident guy. So when you initiate, be confident and bold with it. Same with women. Don't just be like, you want to go upstairs? The kids are asleep right now. Oh, great. Great line of initiation. The kids are asleep right now. Would you like to go up the stairs? That's saying the kids are more important than me, but now that they're asleep, kids are more important than you, but now that they're asleep, we can go have sex. No, just be confident with it. I know the kids are asleep.
Right.
I watched you put them down, or I helped put them down. I know they're asleep. Don't have to tell me that.
Yeah.
Be confident with your move. Wait there in lingerie. Put the lights down, jump in the shower, do something that's a confident, bold move. When you don't do that, now it doesn't have to be every single time, but a few times a month.
Easily.
So understand what turns your spouse on. Guys, I love it when Diane is waiting in something sexy for me. I love that. I love a bra and panty set more than I love a naked body. That's me. Guys, that might not be you.
Yeah. And I know that. So I know that that's what I put effort into.
You know to buy things like that.
Right.
You know to put effort into it, like you said. So she knows that because I've expressed that. I've told her these things. Women, let your men know what turns you on, how you like to initiate. Well, they should just know. No, you have to sometimes tell and give the instructions, just as it is in sex. There's things that you don't like that I do to you, not because you're a prude. You just like, dude, actually just does nothing for me. Don't do that. You had to tell me.
Why waste your energy on it, when you could be putting energy into something I enjoy?
Right.
Same for you.
So have dialogue about it. Yeah. Understand what turns each other on. Number 3, make it consistent. You have to have consistent sex, guys. And you've done a reel on this in the past, is never does anybody have sex and go, well, that was a waste of time, unless somebody went in there just to get theirs and get out. They put no effort into making sure that you were satisfied or I was satisfied.
Right. And you always make sure I'm satisfied.
Well, thank you for encouraging me on here, guys. Babe. We have a joke, guys, that always say 100% satisfaction rate, because that's important, guys. Yeah. You're not going to have a customer that returns to your business if they came in and they to get their car fixed and they left dirty and not fixed.
Right.
If she wants to come in to get connection and some good feeling, and you didn't leave her good feeling and connection because you just got it over with quick and moved her on her way,
that's not going to make her want to do it again.
Right. So you have to be consistent with everything, consistent with their pleasure and consistent with you guys coming and making this happen between you guys. But it has to be both ways. But guys, don't be childish if you're not the one, if your spouse isn't doing it. Talk to them about it. Not every day. Don't get petty. The resentment and the frustration will, if it keeps building, still present it in the right way. But this is why there's so many other things you're supposed to be doing correctly. The biggest thing that we're working on in our life right now is eliminating or delegating 80% of the things from our life. One of the biggest things I see couples do wrong, besides not being equally yoked and really having a deep relationship with God and having God be number one, is the misuse of time. Yeah. And it's crazy like how even off we were for so many years. And that's why we're going through the process now. Everybody needs coaches. We have coaches, guys. And that's something that he's really teaching us, how to deploy our time, use our time, how to say no to things. I don't care if it's going to make us more money. I don't care all of that stuff, or it's going to make our kids better all-star baseball. Is it fit in the box of our time that allows us to be hearing from God, growing in our marriage, growing in self, loving on our kids, and deploying our talents and treasures to make the most amount of money to invest in the kingdom, but at the exact same time, being able to make the biggest impact in life.
Yeah. Well said.
So guys, everybody initiate, please work through this. We love y'all. If you want, please rate this podcast 5 stars. If you're on Spotify or Apple, if you're on YouTube, please do a subscribe and a like or a comment on that. It really does mean the world to us. Click the link below. Got some free value for you guys to be able to take your marriage to new levels. So God bless y'all. We love you. Peace out.
Bye.